Why did Japan lock itself down for 214 years? A long time ago, before Japan became one of the most powerful countries in the world, it closed itself off from the outside world. This happened from the year 1639 to 1853, and the policy was called Sakoku, which means closed country. This policy meant that no foreigners could enter Japan and no Japanese people were allowed to leave the country. If anyone tried to break this rule, they could be punished by death. Who made this rule? At that time, Japan was ruled by Tokugawa family and the leader was Iemitsu Tokugawa, the third shogun or military ruler. The Edo period started in 1603 and the first Tokugawa shogun was Ieyasu Tokugawa. There were 15 Tokugawa shoguns in total, and the last one was Yoshinobu Tokugawa. The word shogun means the top military leader, like a general. The full name was Sei Tai Shogun, which means great general to fight barbarians, but people just said shogun. What's the difference between a shogun and an emperor? The emperor was the highest figure in Japan and was believed to be a descendant of the sun, goddess, or Amaterasu. The emperor had the right to choose or remove a shogun, but even though the emperor was the top in name, the shogun was the one who really controlled the government, like a prime minister today in the monarchy. Before Japan locked itself down, traders from Europe, especially from Portugal, started coming to Japan. They didn't just trade, they also tried to spread Christianity. Over time, this caused problems, especially when local Christians were treated badly. This led to a big event called the Shimabara Rebellion in 1637. The rebellion happened mostly because of high taxes, but also because of anger at how Christians were treated. It was the biggest rebellion during the Tokugawa era. After this, the government decided to close Japan completely to avoid more foreign influence and problems. Why did Japan want to isolate itself? Many shoguns and daimyo or local lords started to question whether the arrival of foreigners would just bring trouble to Japan. They were worried because in other countries, when foreigners came, it often ended this colonization where the visitors took over the land. So, Japan started thinking about closing itself off from the world. There were three main reasons. First, to protect the government system, the shoguns want to keep their power and were afraid that if foreign ideas came in, the people might rebel and try to change the system. Second, fear of colonization. Japanese leaders were worried that Europeans who came to trade might later try to take over land just like they did in other places. Third, to protect Japanese culture. They didn't want foreign influence to erase their traditions, like what they saw happen in the Philippines, where local culture was changed a lot. After many years of thinking and making small rules, the National Isolation Policy or Sakoku finally became official during the rule of the third Tokugawa shogun, Iemitsu Tokugawa. What happened because of this isolation? Some historians say that because Japan was closed off for more than 200 years, it was forgotten by the rest of the world. There's even a funny story. When Japanese people saw the American ship USS Powhatan sailing near their coast, they thought it was a giant angry sea serpent blowing smoke because they had never seen a steam-powered ship before. Japan's geography helped with isolation too. It's made up of islands and not connected to other countries by land, so it was easier to close itself off. To keep control inside in the country, the government made rules for the people. If you wanted to travel between cities, you needed a travel permit. There was a curfew at night. People weren't allowed to walk around without a clear reason. There were even secret police to watch for suspicious activity. Sadly, people who had become Christian were treated badly and discriminated against during this time. Were there any good effects? Yes, a few. Japan's culture stayed strong because it wasn't influenced by other countries. Nationalism or love for their own country grew. They were able to avoid foreign control in politics. So, in the end, even though there were some bad effects, the goals of the isolation policy were mostly reached.
Japan didn't just lock down its borders, it also banned the spread of foreign religions, especially Christianity. To limit outside influence, Christianity first came to Japan with a Portuguese in 1543. When Oda Nobunaga was in power, a Spanish missionary named Francis Xavier arrived in Nagasaki in 1550. And he started spreading Christianity. According to the book Giant of Japan by Mark Wisdom, Oda Nobunaga liked Christians because they also opposite the Buddhism monks, who often encouraged in politics. But everything changed in 1603 when Tokugawa Period became shogun. He strongly opposed Christianity because he feared they would be threatening the dynasty and Japanese traditional. In 1640, Tokugawa Ieyasu ordered all Christian priests to be expelled from Japan. After his death, his son Hidetada took over and persecuted that works.
Later, this Western knowledge helped end Japan isolation. Because people started to question the Sakoku policy, many countries has tried to make contact with Japan during the isolation period, but mostly failed, until July 8, when the Commander Matthew Perry from the United States arrived with 4 warships and demanded Japan open trade. A year later, on March 30,
and it means closed country or isolation policy. This policy